Hello students, welcome to class. This is Urban Farming. I am Professor Ana Maria de Cyprus, coming to you from my homestead. My husband and I are out here in Anza, which is an hour east of Temecula, and we are homesteading on about 40 acres in the high desert and having a great time. Lots of learning, lots of growing. So this class, Urban Farming, I'm so excited to be teaching this semester. It is virtual, which has some challenges in that you won't be able to work alongside me in hands-on activities, but I will be filming everything from our growing area and our barn and the garden, and so hopefully this gives you a better look into what urban farms could potentially look like, even if you can't get your hands dirty at the same time. I encourage you, however, to use any of the techniques that you learn this semester in your own garden, or join a community garden as soon as possible if you don't, if you're not a member already. Many of you have expressed interest in farming, small scale, having your own garden, improving your own garden, and so it's really up to you this semester to kind of take that initiative and put it into action as we learn together. So a little bit about me. Excuse me, it's dry today in the desert. The last 8 years I have been working in permaculture, agriculture, urban farming, beekeeping, herbalism, basically everything plant related. I started off on a journey to go to medical school and took a break after a year or so of applying, and happily found myself in a new career of agriculture. And so it's been a wonderful journey. I have experienced so much joy and so much fulfillment in working with plants and working with community. So my urban farming experience, I started a project in San Juan Capistrano at a housing development in Rancho Mission Viejo, and this urban farm is part of a housing community called an agrihood, which is a fantastic example of how urban farms can serve communities really successfully. So I was there from the start of the project, turning a dirt lot into a thriving community urban farm for the residents. And the goal was to provide a space in which people could see how food was being grown and also be able to take food home, but also a space for community events and learning. And so the power of any farm, but especially an urban farm, is really, it's a place in which people can come together, a place in which learning can happen, ideas can be exchanged, beautiful events can be facilitated, and nourishing food can be shared with community. So that experience at the urban farm, taking it from the ground up, was so powerful in my life that I'm now committed to becoming more of a full-time farmer myself, full scale. And of course, I've always been and always will be an educator, and so sharing that knowledge that I've learned along the way with my community. So like I said, I'm going to do all the videos from our farm It's a working farm, so you're going to hear chickens and roosters. We have goats, we have dogs. I have a 1-year-old, and so fair game that any of those may show up in any of the videos. I think it's really important for you to see these things in real life, virtually, of course. So there's so much to show you and share with you this semester. As you read this week in the chapters, urban farms can be lucrative. They can be financially sustaining, and also thriving epicenters for community. We need more of these models in our modern day society. We need to have more spaces in which people can come together and feel and see nature. I'm also teaching wellness gardening this semester, and I talk a lot about the healing that comes from working with plants or working in the garden. That the garden or the farm is a space in which we can facilitate powerful change. So the urban farm is another model in which we have a space to reconnect people to the seasons, to the rhythm of an environment or an ecosystem, and to plants, and to nourishing, beautiful food. There's a lot of food deserts in our cities across our country. And you don't need a huge plot of land to grow a lot of food. That's the beauty about urban farms. As you'll read in Curtis Stone's book, he's transforming 1/4 acre to 1/2 acre properties, parcels, and pumping out a lot of food. So as we move this semester, I encourage you to think about what kind of model speaks to you. Is this something that you would want to pursue further? Could you transform your own garden or home space, front lawn, backyard, into a mini farm? And the answer is yes. You can have that, and you can make money doing it too. And you can share the surplus with your community and build new and lasting, beautiful relationships. Urban farming is a little different than larger scale rural farming in that some of the crops may be different. Urban farming tends to focus on things that could be more rapid producing. Not to say though that you can't have squashes and corn and things like that, but because the urban farms are typically smaller, you're going to focus on things that are a little more compact. You also probably won't have a big barn on site. You can have animals. I have worked on urban farms where there are chickens and goats as well. Beehives, of course. But things like cows, probably not your choice for the urban farm. But urban farms can be and are so beautiful. I have like a list of ingredients that I like to call them to create the perfect recipe for the ambiance and the educational opportunity and the growing space of urban farms, which I will share with you this semester. So we're going to talk about different crops to grow, different techniques, how to prepare beds, growing beds, which is important, incorporating animals like bees and chickens, what kind of crops, seasonality, how do we choose the right kind of food to grow, soil amendments, which is huge, composting, and then of course the community aspect, which is huge. How do we move that product? How do we move the harvest? How can we work with restaurants and other local organizations to share our food with? And how can we get community involved? So these are all very exciting pieces to the urban farm. Our urban farm, well, it's not an urban farm since we're rural, but we're growing on about 1/4 of an acre right here. Let's see. Da-da-da. Behind me is that we have an outdoor shower, and there's a barn back there. We've got corn growing and greenhouse over here. You'll get to see more of the farm this semester as we move through each week.